they're relating to the pepper grass, but they don't seem to be in the pepper grass. It seems to be you throw at the edges of it, and you get bit. Alright, good morning guys. It is Captain Erik Tilson. We are back out here on Lake Toho this morning, and today we are going to run up and we're going to break down that midsection of the lake. I'm talking about from Lanier Point, kind of Granada public boat ramp area down to maybe Bella Lago. We might not make it as far as marker 22. I'm excited about today. Could be a good day, could be really challenging. That section of the lake has a lot of grass in it right now. It's got a lot of pepper grass in it right now. It's got a lot of hydrilla. And a lot of really good fishing areas are kind of choked out to the point where you can't really fish them super effectively. But there's still a lot of areas where you can fish, and that's what I'm gonna try to show you guys today. So y'all come on, let's run up there and go see if we can catch some fish. Alright guys, so we spun back around whenever we smelled fish and decided to try and fish this area. Looks good, it smells fishy, it looks fishy, it probably is fishy. I'm just gonna throw some stuff to cover some water this morning. You don't always have it figured out when you first hit the water, but you have to do something. You gotta get the ball rolling. So for me, I like a swim bait. Now, not everybody agrees with live scope or uses it or whatever, but I like live scope. I use live scope quite a bit. What I'll do is I'm actually going to use the live scope to kind of watch the fish and how they're reacting to things. You know, if I get a lot of followers on this swim bait and they don't eat it or react real well to it, then I'll change my approach. But I'm going to continue throwing it because just a couple of days ago, my good buddy JB and I were out here and I was trying to film this segment of this series, and JB and I went out here and we broke down the middle section of Lake Toho, and we had a good time doing it, and we caught a bunch of fish. The problem was, and I didn't know it at the time because camera was beeping and things seemed to be going well. It was using battery, but this camera right here was not actually recording anything other than sound. So whenever I got home that afternoon and started trying to go back through all the clips, all I had on this camera was a whole bunch of audio. and nothing visual. So back out here today, I'm gonna go back through it again, try to show you guys how I break down the middle portion of Lake Toho. I'll tell you what, while I keep trying to figure this out, why don't we watch some of the fish catches from the other day whenever JB and I were out here, and then we'll get back to it.
Oh my God, come on. God, dog. Damn. Look at that. Fucked it up.
I got him.
You got him.
There he is, JB. There he is.
I don't know how the fuck I missed it.
That's not a big one, but that's a sure fun one on that swim bait right there. JB, I had to do it to you, man. I had to do it to you, buddy.
I'd rather it be you than anybody.
You want to look at him?
I hate to be you. Hope it was you instead of somebody else. Got him that time, baby. I wasn't even gonna say that.
JB's got one. Swim baiting. It's not a bad fish, JB.
Not a bad one. Not a bad one. Doing that big easy.
A bladed swimmer on a big easy.
Little fella, but we hope they're gonna get a little bit bigger.
Not a bad way to start the morning. There's one. Big head, skinny body. Kind of got that thing that they get where they get that real skinny back on them.
Got it. Come on, baby.
There we go, nice fish for JB.
Yeah, swallowed that chatterbait. About time. He smoked it. All right, baby.
Missed it on the first time, got it on the second.
Yeah, he come back and got it the second time. He got it good.
Oh yeah, that fish inhaled that chatterbait. That thing's gone. Oh, JB and I had a pretty fun day fishing nothing but the mid portion of Lake Toho. Oh man, they're all over that flashy swimmer, but they are not getting the entire swim bait. We may have to downsize things a little bit here. I don't want to do it to them. I can tell you right now, if I threw a worm at these fish, we'd be catching them. I got 20 bucks. 20 bucks says we get bid on the June bug pippinator and catch a fish. This worm right here is the Lake Toho staple. You will not find a better worm to fish on this lake right here. Promise you. I think I got one, guys. Had one. Short strike. But got bit on the June bug pippinator first cast. Big shocker there. All these fish are just off the edge of a large clump of pepper grass. They're relating to the pepper grass, but they don't seem to be in the pepper grass. It seems to be you throw at the edges of it, and you get bit. Got one on the pippinator, second cast. I knew that was gonna happen. All right, we're putting the pippinator down because I'll tell you right now, we would run out of worms today throwing that thing right there. It gets bit. It's the best worm for Lake Toho that I think has ever been made. All right, so we got us one. Not very big, probably a 13, 14-inch fish. Getting bit again. Man, they're on a swim bait bite right now. It's like the other day out here with JB. I mean, they're getting a hold of a swim bait, no questions asked. Come here, dude. That's not a big fish. But what that is, that's a fun fish. They're really tight to these pepper grass clumps out here. We are literally just off of big grassy point out here. Marker number 24 is right here to my right. And I'm just throwing a swim bait with a flashy hook around these clumps of pepper grass out here. A lot of fish. For us this morning so far, nothing big, but a lot of fish. That's fun. Going back to what I said in part one of this series, it's always fun to start somewhere and get slimy first thing in the morning. But we are going to want to find us some bigger fish. They're chasing shad literally right here in front of the boat. This tiny little shad though. Could probably go to a weightless fluke in a situation like this and catch them, but really don't want to throw the weightless fluke. You can catch big fish on a weightless fluke, but it tends to be a small fish presentation. It's a lot like a drop shot. There are people that catch them on it, but it does tend to be a numbers technique where you catch a lot of small fish. All right, guys, it might be time to move. We're just about at the end of the road here. Pepper grass from this point on back towards Lanier Point appears to get so thick. I don't know if I want to try to contend with it with the trolling motor and trying to be quiet. find somewhere else to fish. Stuff right here around marker 24. Not great, a little bad, but there's got to be something better. Tell you, the hydrilla is just about got this completely choked out over here too. Pretty bad. But hey, they got to be in it somewhere. Not bad on a river system where it doesn't grow in the middle. You actually wind up with edges. Lakes like Lake Toho, we don't have any deep spots in it. It can be very difficult to find any kind of an edge. And ultimately, they've abused the lake. They've let it go way too far. All right, guys, we got to move. This is sucking pretty bad. There's nowhere to fish. It's like literally nothing but just one solid hydrilla mat. I'll run down the lake a little bit and look in a little bit deeper portion of the lake, see if we can't get out of this stuff and get somewhere we can fish. All right, guys, so we've moved down the lake a little bit. We're over here on the west shoreline, about halfway in between Granada and Bella Lago, and there's a big hydrilla mat out here. It's got a relatively decent edge to it, but the more you get up around it and try to fish that edge, it's not really an edge anymore. It's scattered grass everywhere. But we're gonna beat around up here and see what we can find. It's been really tough today. You know, I showed you guys those fishing clips this morning from JB and I out here a couple days ago. Fishing was a lot better that day. Today has been pretty tough, but that might change. This time of year, feeding windows are different from day to day. Little things, afternoon thunderstorms, barometric pressure changes, all kinds of stuff throws them for a loop. The fact that the water's 90 degrees. But sometimes all you can do is just throw the trolling motor down and go fishing. And that's exactly what we are gonna do. Chatterbait. Chatterbait with that little you know, I call it a spunk shad. Hog Farmer, I believe, started it. Now there's several other companies making a straight tail trailer like that, but little chatterbait bass there. Tell you what, he had no fight in him at all. None. All right, guys, so we have moved down the lake quite a bit. We're as far south as I'm gonna go. We're down here between marker 22 and Bella Lago right over there. And I gotta say, this has been a really grueling day. I haven't been fishing the midsection of the lake much, and this is exactly why. Been trying been trying really hard today to find something cool to fish that doesn't require a tremendous amount of work and just grinding through stuff. And guys, I gotta tell you, there's not a lot of that out there. Man, the lake is choked. The mid portion of it is choked out really badly, and it's just hard to get anywhere to fish where you're not going to have the trolling motor on 100 the entire time. And so it's just really difficult. Down here between marker 22 and Bella Lago, the hydrilla is not bad. It's all really tight to the bottom. And there's a lot of patches of pepper grass down here. Now, some days it matters, some days it doesn't. I will say I don't like the watercolor down here. The watercolor is really green, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. It just means that you may not catch as many fish. But I will say this, a lot of times whenever you get around color in the water, a lot of times your bite quality will go up. And when you do get bit, it'll usually be a little bit better fish. So we're gonna fish through this down here pretty quick, and then I'll probably be wrapping this up. I mean, this just sucks. You know, when the grass gets that bad out there in the lake, and you know, especially if you're like out here like me today, trying to limit yourself to a very small portion of the lake, and the grass is just choked out everywhere you go. It's just not fun. You just don't want to be out there anymore. I'm gonna fish around this section of the lake a little bit here, and then like I said, I'll probably wrap it up and go get me some lunch. All right, guys, well, I'm gonna wrap it up with that. So as you guys can see, at least today anyways, the midsection of Lake Toho is pretty tough. There's an overabundance of grass. There's too much grass, and there's not enough good clean areas to fish to where you can effectively target fish. like edges or holes or places that they get. Most of the midsection of Lake Toho is just, even if it's not topped out in certain areas, there's grass there. So almost the whole midsection of Toho is solid grass. Now, whether that's pepper grass or hydrilla, depends on where you're at. But there are still a couple of places that you can get in and fish. Like you guys saw this morning up there around marker 24, just off of the big grassy point there. The bottom's pretty clean in a lot of places through there, and you've got those isolated patches of pepper grass. It seemed like there was a small school fish on almost every one of those isolated patches of pepper grass. I didn't catch anything big there. I'm sure that there's some better fish there in that area, but all in all, it wasn't bad fishing for this time of year. It was somewhere to start in the morning. We caught fish. You'll see in the fish catches from the other day when JB and I were out here, JB and I caught a few fish in that area on swim baits. After that, I left from there and kind of rounded the corner, went around by Lanier Point towards Granada, and out there around the FWC State Fish Attractor pile that's straight out from the Granada boat ramp. Not a lot of luck out there. The hydrilla is really starting to take over out there as well. There's not really any differences. There's no edges or holes, so that makes it pretty tough. From there, I kind of worked down the west wall and found a large hydrilla mat that on the western side of it, and you can see it on a contour map if you're looking and you're in that area, but there's a deeper kind of a, it's not a trough, but there is a deeper contour that runs along that western side of that big cheesy hydrilla mat over there. There's fish along that side, but again, I think it's because there's an edge there to fish. There's some isolated clumps over there, and there's an actual edge of a hydrilla wall, and it seems like anytime you get around that, you get around some fish. From there, we ran out to the state FWC Fish Attractor pile that is straight in between Bella Lago and Reds out there. The buoy is no longer there. You know, they've done it for years, but recently some jack wagons have came out here and started pulling buoys off the FWC attractors and relocating them to other places and cutting them off so they drift away. But the thing of it is, and the reason why I say jack wagons, is kind of stupid and it's wasted effort, because all the GPS coordinates to the state fish attractors that FWC has put in are posted online. And I'm gonna leave a link to that website in the description. So make sure, if you're interested in having those GPS coordinates for the state fish attractor piles, make sure you check the description. I'm gonna leave a link to that website in the description. You'll be able to have those brush piles in your GPS units, and sometimes they help, sometimes they don't. On this lake, there's not very many of them left that aren't completely covered in hydrilla. I know that all the ones on the south end are completely covered over. This one between Bella Lago and Reds is completely covered over. The one up there straight out from Granada is completely covered over. The one in Goblet's Cove, completely covered over. The one that is in between Mackinson Island and Paradise Island is still open and fishable. And then the one that is north of that is completely covered over now. But, so I ran over there to that FWC attractor between Bella Lago and Reds, graphed around the area, found nothing but, you know, just under the surface hydrilla. Kind of tried to find an edge over there somewhere, failed to find an edge anywhere in that area. That hydrilla is growing from the shore all the way out to the middle of the lake, and any edges that were there are seemingly gone now. So from there, we worked our way down to marker 22. Marker 22, between marker 22 and Bella Lago, out in that area, it looks really nice. The hydrilla in a lot of places is only growing a foot or two off the bottom. The watercolor is not ideal, but it's not bad. It's got plenty of water clarity. It's just kind of green. That's not a problem. They'll still bite. You still catch some good fish there. Today, a June bug pippinator, that 8-inch trick worm from CPF Lures, will put a lot of fish in the boat whenever nothing else will. So I probably should have picked that up and thrown that some, but I didn't. I'm trying not to do that for these videos. With that being said, we'll talk about key stuff right now. You know, and today I didn't catch anything flipping. Of course, I didn't catch a whole lot of anything doing much of anything at all. But as you guys saw in the video today, my little naked chatterbait caught some fish today. Obviously, the bladed swim bait caught some fish today. That is what caught all of our fish whenever JB and I were out here. That seems to be catching a lot of fish right now. You know, chatterbait, if you want to throw chatterbait around the grass. But definitely, and it seems like no matter where I go, if I pick it up, I only have it in my hand for about 5 minutes. If you want to catch fish on Toho right now, you know, and sometimes it's not the most exciting technique, but it is surely effective. And that's that Texas rig, CPF lures, Pippinator trick worm. I got that rigged up with a 1/4 ounce Hogtech tungsten and bobber stop on 17-pound fluorocarbon. Seriously, nothing fancy, but when it gets hot this time of year and those fish get really lethargic and they don't want to move a lot, they don't want to chase things down much, a soft plastic trick worm is going to catch you a lot of fish when nothing else will. So keep that in mind. Kind of a big takeaway that if I could leave you guys with something for the midsection of Lake Toho would be, if you get in an area and you're catching some fish, you may want to stay in that area. It seems like if you leave fish that are biting in this portion of the lake to go find other fish or go find bigger fish, you may not catch any more fish that day. Seems like if you kind of leave a big group of them, your day might be done. So I would say definitely if you get on some fish that are catchable, I would slow way down, get real patient, and pick that area apart, fish very thoroughly. I'd cycle through 3 or 4 different baits, see what they want the most, and just have fun with it. All right, guys, well, that's gonna be it for today. Like I say in each video, make sure you check the description. I leave a link to all the stuff that I'm using, the rods that I use, the lures, all that stuff. There's a discount code for CPF lures in the description. You guys can use it checkout, save you a little bit of money when you're stocking up on Pippinators. And you know, if you're a flipping guy like me and you're getting those reapers, you can save some money when you buy a bunch of them. And make sure you stay tuned to the channel. I'm gonna have southern end coming. We're gonna have the creeks and backwater stuff coming. And I'm gonna try to do some other stuff in between. Try to get creative, you know, trying to shoot something out here that's going to help you guys put some fish in the boat. The lake's fishing tough some days it's fishing really well, but just showing you guys kind of how to navigate and how to cipher through all this grass is really the biggest thing that I'm trying to do here. But that's it, guys. We'll see you on the next one.